Hi, and welcome to Rise and Thrive Yoga. This is the New to Yoga series, week one's instructional video. So I'm so happy you're here. Today we're going to go over some of the basics of the New to Yoga series and how to get you started on your own yoga practice so that you feel comfortable and confident in what you're doing. So I'm going to start a little bit with some foundational poses and just an orientation to what a class may look like when you take one, whether it's at home or in a studio or gym or brewery, winery, wherever you may go. So the first thing for basics is the orientation of your mat. So we have yoga mats. If you have any questions about where to purchase a yoga mat, what kind would be best for you, feel free to ask me and let me know. I do have a video in this course called Props Are Your Friends, and in there are some suggestions on different mats. The mats that I use, I have a few different ones, and so they're all in there and where to buy them. So if you have any questions, let me know. They're all moderately priced, and there's also even lower cost options or high-end options depending on what you like. But I usually get pretty moderately priced mats, and I've been very happy with them through the years. So you have your yoga mat laid out, and when you enter a public class, you're going to see that most yoga teachers have their mat horizontally like this, and everyone else is lined up vertically in front of him or her. So you can do it like that when you're taking a video class like this. You can have it facing the camera or your screen, or you can have it out long like this. So either way you have it, one of the short sides of your mat is going to be the front of your mat. The other one will be the back of your mat, and this is the side. So if I say step to the front of your mat, you're going to pick one of the short ends and face away. And if I say step to the back of your mat, you're going to step to the back of your mat, but also still facing the front of the mat. I hope that makes sense. And then if I say face the side of your mat, it's one of the long ends, and so it could be either direction, the side, and I will also say, point your toes towards the side of the mat, and that means the long way of the mat. So it'll make a little more sense, all of this, as we get going, and I'll cue it so you don't need to remember it, but it's just one of those good foundational things to know is what it means when we say front, back, or side of the yoga mat, since they're all sides. All right, so we're going to start in easy pose. A lot of classes start in easy pose, and a lot of poses originate in easy pose. So easy pose is a cross-legged, comfortable pose. Your back is straight and comfortable. Your shoulders are dropped away from your ears. The crown of your head is pointed towards the sky, and your hands can be placed on your knees, either palms up or palms down, whichever you prefer. If this posture is uncomfortable for you, you can have your legs straight out in front of you, or your legs wide, or any variation of sitting on the mat you can do this. So don't feel like you have to sit cross-legged just because everyone else is. You just find what's comfortable for you and go with it. And a couple other options to use props in this pose to make it more comfortable for you and more beneficial is you can sit on a blanket. So I like to sit on a folded blanket in easy pose a lot of the time. Raising up your hips over higher than your knees lets your hips open up a little bit more. It's a lot gentler on your hips. So anytime you can raise your hips above your knees, it's going to be a lot more comfortable for your body and more beneficial. And it just gives you a little bit more length, and it's just more comfortable. So I enjoy sitting on a blanket, especially if you're doing a meditation that's going to be long. You're going to be sitting for a long time on the ground. Doing something like this is really great. You can also add in, you can either do the block by itself or the blanket by itself or both together, is just sitting on a foam yoga block. So then here you can see my hips are really opened up. My knees are really dropped towards the mat, and this is really comfortable. I really enjoy sitting like this. So this is why props are your friends, because it makes life a lot more comfortable. So I'm just going to do the blanket for today. So we're sitting here, and we're going to talk a little bit about engaging your core, because I talk about engaging your core a lot during all different poses. So starting in easy pose to see what that feels like is an awesome place to start. So you're going to bring your belly button towards your spine, right? You're not going to suck it in so much that you can't breathe or talk. So right now my core is engaged. My belly button is gravitating towards my spine really gently. I can still breathe, I can still talk, and I'm comfortable. So engaging the core helps protect your spine, your lower back, and just helps those muscles get stronger, which helps support your spine and your whole body. So engaging that core in different poses is important just for your overall health and stability and balance, which is why it's a focus in a lot of our yoga poses. All right, so let's try that. So bringing your belly button towards your spine, relaxing your shoulders down and back. Spine is straight, or as straight as it can be. Sitting up tall. So get yourself there, the crown of your head, the top of your head towards the ceiling and just looking forward, or you can have your gaze slightly down. And I just want you to take a few slow, deep breaths here. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. So take your time. You can soften your gaze, close your eyes if you'd like. Kind of sometimes that helps concentrate on your breath a little bit more. So continue that, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. And on your next breath, I want you to try to make your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale. So you can try even counting, like inhale to a count of 3 and exhale for a count of 4. And that you showing that your exhale is a little bit longer than your inhale. And by doing that, elongating the exhale, it helps really activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest part of your nervous system, opposite of the fight or flight, which is what our body's in most of the day as we go about our day, working and being. So really taking that time to do a little bit of a longer exhale will really benefit your mind and your body overall. So take one more deep breath in and blow it out. Awesome. If your eyes were closed, you can open them. And then we're going to make our way to standing. So if you had any props on your mat, just move them out of the way. And then you can make your way to standing, however is most comfortable for you. So we're going to do mountain pose. This is another foundational pose from which a lot of yoga poses originate. So we're going to have our feet about hips width apart, really pressing our feet into the mat. So thinking if your foot had 4 corners, thinking about really pressing those into the mat. Our arms are going to be by our sides, palms forward, fingers spread wide, shoulders dropped away from your ears. So sometimes you can squeeze your shoulders way up and then just drop them down and back to let them relax. And we're just going to take a deep breath here. Blow it out. Think of yourself in a power pose. You're nice and strong. Your fingertips are wide and really strong. Palms are stretched out. Chest is sticking out a little bit. And then to really get that grounded, we're going to come up on our toes and then put our heels back down. And now raise your toes and put your toes back down. Awesome. So that really, sometimes when you do that, it really helps you feel your full foot on the mat. So you can do that again if you want, lifting your toes, dropping them down, lifting your heels and dropping them down. Awesome. So this is mountain pose. Now we're going to go something I call subtle mountain pose. So this is movement in mountain pose. So we're going to inhale, lift our arms up, come up on your toes, lifting your heels. Exhale back down, letting your arms drop, heels drop to the mat. Again, inhaling up, arms lift up, heels lift. Exhaling, arms drop, heels drop. Nice and slow. All right, one more time. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And I know you can't see my hands in the video frame, but they're just facing each other with palms spread wide, fingertips spread wide, just directly above my head. We have a little movement restrictions in this room that I can't get too far away from the video. So that's why you can't see the tops of my hands. But I'll tell you where they're going so you'll know. All right, so that's mountain pose, and that's movement mountain pose. So that's a lot of where the foundations of a lot of yoga poses come from. So that's a great one to know and to come back to and practice. Now we're going to make our way down to the mat into tabletop position. So on your hands and knees. So get there in whatever way is comfortable for you. So we're going to start focusing on our hands. So our hands are on the mat, fingers spread wide, and you're going to kind of grip the mat a little bit with your fingertips. All right? So kind of like hollowing out through your palms a little bit. And if this is uncomfortable, puts a lot of stress on your wrist, which it does for some people, or maybe some days it may and some days it may not, you can just come up on your fists, which sometimes it sounds like it's going to be harder, but I find it really soothing for my wrists when they're sore or I've been doing too much typing. Coming up on fists like this is really great. Or you can always grab your folded blanket and use that under your wrists. All right, so we've got our hands down, and then we're going to put, whether you're up on your fists or on your hands, your shoulders are going to be in line with your wrists. So you just want to make sure your shoulders are in line with your wrists. Our gaze is usually down. I'm going to look to the side because I'm talking to you, but your gaze is down about in between your hands. Your back is flat, and now we're going to focus on where our knees are. So our knees are about hips width apart, and then your knee is going to track over your knee. Your hip is going to track over your knee. All right, and the tops of our feet are pressing lightly into the mat. All right, so we're all set up in tabletop now. Let's take a few deep breaths. So looking down in between your hands, pressing away from the mat, making sure your shoulders aren't creeping up towards your ears. You're feeling nice and strong. And just take a few deep breaths here. Your neck is relaxed. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now think about engaging your core. So bringing belly button towards spine. Nice and softly, and continue to breathe. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Really getting a feel for the pose. And also another thing, if your knees are really sensitive, you can also put the folded blanket under your knees here too. So if your wrists and knees need a blanket, you can just roll it out or put one folded blanket underneath your hands and one underneath your knees. So those are a few great options. They also sell these great knee pads too, and wrist pads that you can buy if they're really sensitive. And a lot of people find those really comfortable and helpful for yoga poses. So now we're going to move into cat-cow pose. So cat-cow originates from tabletop. A lot of poses are going to originate from tabletop, which is why we spend so much time here with the cueing and alignment so that you are able to get here and then get safely into another pose. So we're in tabletop still, and now we're going to go into cat-cow. So this is a movement pose instead of a holding pose. This is great for your spine to strengthen and lengthen along your spine, and it's great to do in the morning to wake your body up. So if you were to ask one pose to do every morning when you wake up just for a few breaths, I would suggest cat-cow. All right, so we're here, and we're going to inhale, bringing our chin and chest forward and dropping belly towards the mat, arching our back. You don't want to crane your neck all the way and look up. You're kind of looking maybe a foot in front of your yoga mat, and your chin comes away from your chest. Belly drops towards the mat, so it's not dropping all the way down, but it's just like you're arching your back. And then we're going to exhale. We're going to bring our chin towards our chest, and our lower back rounds. We're pushing away from the mat with our fingertips, and we're looking back in between our legs at our toes. And then we're going to inhale to come forward again, so dropping belly towards the mat. Chin and chest come forward. Nice and slow, lower back arches. And then exhaling, chin comes to chest, lower back rounds, and gaze goes back towards the feet. So let's do that a few more times, nice and slow. Inhaling to come forward, chin and chest come forward, lower back arches. Exhale, chin comes to chest, lower back rounds, gaze back towards your feet. One more time, inhaling, chin and chest come forward, belly drops towards the mat. And then exhaling, chin comes to chest, lower back rounds, looking back at your toes. Awesome. So from tabletop, so like I said, a lot of poses start in tabletop. So we're going to go into child's pose, and I'm going to show you a few variations. So I want you to try them all with me, and then you can see which one you like the best to use, or you can kind of mix it up just depending on the day and what feels good in that moment. So we're going to start with, this is my personal favorite, but it might not be your personal favorite. So we're in tabletop position, pressing away from the mat with our hands. We're going to bring our knees as wide as the mat, and then big toes come together. And then we're going to push back with our hands, pushing our hips over your heels, and then sending your fingertips forward, and forehead comes towards the mat. So your forehead may or may not touch the mat, and that's okay. You can also bring a block in here, rest your forehead on the block, and reach forward. Same pose, same benefits. It just may be more comfortable to have your forehead on the block. You could also use a folded blanket here. So while you're here, let's take a few deep breaths in and out, concentrating on that breath while I give you a few more cues. So you want to press your heart towards the mat. So you're opening through your chest, pressing your heart towards your mat. This doesn't have to be, when I say to press, it's more like an energetically pressing. So you're not like, I don't want your chest on the ground, but just towards. And pressing your hips towards your heels. Also an option to take your folded blanket, put it in between your hips and your heels, and that feels super awesome. And then another option here is, you could do it with the block or without, but I'll show you without the block, is to bring your palms together in child's pose and then raise your palms over your head. So this is now stretching a little bit more through your upper back and your triceps. So this is an option for your hands. Another option in child's pose is to come up on tented fingers. So you're tenting through your fingers. This just really stretches even more through your upper back and through your arms and through your hands. So kind of play around with the different positions of the arms. See what feels the best. And just hang out there for a couple more breaths. Maybe counting to 3 on the inhale, counting to 4 on the exhale. One more deep breath here. Awesome. I'm going to come back up to our tabletop position again. Now we're going to do another variation of child's pose. So here in tabletop, we're going to bring knees all the way together, lower legs together, ankles together, and then we're going to sink our hips back over our heels once again. And for this one, you can have your fingertips reaching front ahead again. Again, you can bring your block back. In this position, usually a block is definitely more helpful. Unless you want to just hang out, that's fine too. And then the other option for the arms here is to bring the arms back near your feet, palms up. So try this for a few short deep breaths and see how this feels. And after your next exhale, you can sit back up. So those are a few different options for child's pose. You can try those out. Child's pose is awesome if you need a rest during class. So say you're in a fast-paced class, maybe you weren't expecting it, or you just wanted to try it out and you're like, I need a break. Your body's screaming, saying you need to stop, but you don't want to just stop, you just need a little break. Taking a break and hanging out in child's pose for 5 or 10 breaths may be perfect. You're still getting amazing benefits for your body, but you're letting your body rest and reset before you go back. Or say they're doing like a headstand and you're like, no way, not doing that. That's me in class. If they're doing headstands, I hang out in child's pose because it's just not in my practice and it's not something I want to do for my body, and everyone's different. So you may be in a class that does that, so just hang out in child's pose. I see people in classes all the time hanging out in child's pose, whether they've been doing yoga for a week or 30 years. So listen to your body, take a break, take a rest, whether it's in child's pose or tabletop or easy pose. Just take a break. Everyone understands that, and no one's really paying attention to you in a class. They're paying attention to themselves. I know that's really hard to get because it's hard for me, but please give your body a break when it needs it. Listen to your body. Don't stretch it too far because you'll regret it the next day. And you want to keep practicing and just doing what's best for your body. We don't want to add more stress and inflammation to our body. We want to decrease all of that. So listen to your body, use the props, use the modifications that I give, because everybody is different and everyone's going to feel different depending on what time of day it is and what they've been doing and how they feel. So just try to think about those things as you go through your practice. So at the end of every class, most classes have a shavasana or a rest time at the end where you're in corpse pose and you're relaxing. And sometimes teachers will read a guided meditation or a quote or come do some hands-on stretching of your body. And so those are all different options that can happen in the end of a class, but most teachers will tell you if any of that's going to happen at the end of the class. You can expect it. You don't have to get a hands-on assist. Sometimes they're lovely and sometimes you just don't want them. So there's always the option to opt out of those. So I have a few options for Shavasana on how to lay. So you can use, we're going to utilize some props here too. So the first option, and what you may see a lot if you've taken classes before or just seeing it on TV or videos, is just lying long on your back. So this is corpse pose. Your feet are wide, your feet are dropped to the side, so your toes drop open if that's comfortable. Arms can be by your sides, palms up or palms down, or they can rest on your belly. That's usually my personal favorite, and it's just comforting for me. Let your shoulders drop towards the mat, and you just want to let your body just really relax. So if there's a part of your body that's tense, like your leg, just kind of move it around and let it relax, or tense the muscle and then let it release, and that gives you a little bit more release. You want to soften your gaze or close your eyes. The option is up to you. And relax. I always say to relax your jaw because I feel like we hold a lot of tension in our jaw. So relax your jaw, relax your eyes, your cheeks, your forehead. And then you're just going to try to just let your breathing go. So we're not all class, we just focused on our breath. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, inhale, exhale. Now you just want to let it go and just breathe normally like you're sleeping. So no controlling the breath. And try to clear your mind. You may be thinking about what you need to do next, or your shopping list, or anything. And if those thoughts do come into your head, you can just say, okay, I got you, but I'm going to relax now. And if you have thoughts going through your brain the whole time, that's okay too. So you're still resting your body. And here you have a few options for comfort. You can take a rolled up blanket or a bolster and put it underneath your knees, which is super comfy. You can cover yourself with a blanket, which is also super comfy because you want to be warm in Shavasana. So if you have a sweatshirt or socks or anything nearby you want to throw on, because the warmer you are, the more you're going to relax. And if you have problems with vertigo or dizziness, you can always put a block or a pillow behind your head to raise your head up above your heart. So that's an option as well. So you can try out all those different things. Some days, some may feel good, and other days, they may not. So there's always options. So another way to do this, if you're having a lot of lower back strain, sometimes laying flat like this is not comfortable at all. So we're going to raise our knees towards the ceiling. Feet are on the mat. Then we're going to bring feet about as wide as the mat. And then we're going to let the knees drop together. So the knees are supporting each other. This is constructive rest. Your lower back is gently pressed into the mat. And again, hands can be by your sides, palms up, palms down, on your belly. You can even still use a block here behind your head. You can cover yourself with your blanket and just get ready to relax. All right, so those are a bunch of options for some of the foundational poses that we use in yoga. So I hope that you watch this video maybe a couple times, practice, and I will see you for the next video, which will be the week one, class flow. So it's putting what we just learned together in a class format. I'll still be cueing you, but it'll go a little bit faster and we'll show you what a traditional yoga class might look like. So I'll see you then.